ClubExpress Volunteer Self-Signup for Villages. The optional Volunteer Self-Signup function, also known as the VSS, allows your volunteers to assign themselves for services requested by members. Many villages are comfortable allowing certain types of services to be self-selected by certain volunteers. This can help encourage volunteer participation and can ease administrative tasks because volunteers can view and sign up for service requests directly and also provide after-service information, all without having to involve village office staff. In this video, we'll look at the function from 3 different user points of view: that of an administrator, and from both that of a non-member and as a member volunteer. In all cases, the user interacts with the same screen, but administrators have some additional features, and the login procedure is different for non-members than for members. Non-member volunteers who are fully vetted can be provided with a username and password to log in just to the Volunteer Self-Signup screen. We're currently logged into our demo village as an administrator. To enable VSS access for a non-member volunteer, we first go to the Control Panel Services tab and scroll down to the Service Providers link. On the Service Providers screen, locate the provider and click the Gear with a Key icon to send them a username and password via email. Let's log out and look at the email that was sent to the service provider. It contains their non-member username, a temporary password, and a link to the special volunteer login screen. The link will be something like myvillage.org/volunteer requests, and your village's actual domain name or the ClubExpress domain will be used in place of myvillage.org. Also note that you can place links to this module on the public and member sides of your website. The special volunteer login screen prompts for the non-member's username and password. This screen has a Remember Me option so that the non-member volunteers can log in on a trusted computer without having to enter their username and password each time. It also has a Forgot My Username and Password option and a separate link to redirect members to the correct login page for them. Note that the regular member login link will not work for non-member volunteers, but there's even a link on that screen that redirects non-member volunteers to the volunteer login screen for their special login. If the user is a village member, they simply log in via the regular member login page or through the member link on the volunteer login page. Once the member or non-member's volunteer credentials have been entered successfully, the Volunteer Self-Signup screen is shown. In this example, we've logged in as a non-member volunteer, Mary Abbott. We'll revisit the screen shortly when logged in as an administrator to show the additional functionality only available to admins. When you first visit the form, the search dialog is displayed. This lets you filter the result list so it shows only the records that you want to see. You can limit the results to a date range or a specific day of the week, to all or specific requesting members, or to a starting location. For hub and spoke villages, the starting location will normally show the metro area. You can also pick a specific service from the drop-down list. Note that the services in this list may be a subset of all the services offered by your village. This is controlled by a setting in each service that says whether or not to show it on the self-sign-up page. Searches with multiple criteria are treated as AND conditions, so all specified conditions must be matched for a request to be displayed. Also note that if the search box is not visible, click the search icon in the Page Tools widget to display it. Here we have limited the results to a date range. The default view is the Open Request tab, showing those service requests waiting to be filled. For each service request, volunteers can see the requested date time, whether these times are flexible, the approximate duration, the member making the request, the general service requested, and the starting location and destination. Let's take a look at the buttons available. Click the Availability button to adjust your availability by day of week and time of day. This information will be used by the village to match you to service requests at the time when you're available and to leave you off services when you're not. Each column represents a day of the week. Each row represents a general time slot: morning, lunchtime, afternoon, evening, and night. For each intersection of time and day slot, you specify one of 4 availabilities: most likely available, Backup, where you might be available, Call me if really desperate, and Not available. This screen also includes shortcuts to configure a whole column at once. For example, if you're never available on Tuesdays, or a whole row at once. For example, if you're never available in the evenings, or even the whole grid by clicking in the top left corner. Click Save to save your changes and return to the main service provider screen, or Cancel to return without saving. Select the Vacation Calendar button to specify individual dates where you are not available at all. For example, because of a family vacation, a semester break, or an exam period. Click an individual date to highlight it as not available. Click a highlighted date to clear it. Use the navigation buttons at the top of the grid to move between months or years. You can also specify start and end dates, then click the Not Available option to highlight a larger range. Changes are saved immediately. There's no save option. Click the Clear All Dates button to clear all not available dates. This affects all months and years, not just the ones currently visible. Then click Return to Previous Page to return to the Volunteer Self-Signup screen. Select the Contacts button to enter emergency and other contacts. You'll see a standard ClubExpress admin screen. Select the Change Username and Password button to display a standard screen to update your username and password. You can also click the Remember Me option to log in automatically on a trusted computer. When you finish viewing requests, click the Volunteer Logout button at the bottom of the screen. Note that this special login does not grant non-member volunteer access to any other member features. Let's look at the Open Requests tab. The Open Requests screen displays service requests for all kinds of services and time slots, not just the ones for which the volunteers have registered. To put it another way, volunteers who said they are only available on Tuesdays for medical trips will see all kinds of service requests on all days of the week. This was done to encourage volunteers to volunteer outside of their normal comfort area, or in case they have additional time outside their normal availability times. Again, keep in mind, because the list of open service requests can be quite long, use the search screen to limit the results to only dates and services that interest you. Click the Request Description icon in the last column to see the request's short description in a small pop-up. To see more details about the request and to sign up to handle the request, click the View Select icon. Click the Confirm button to assign yourself to the service request, or click the Cancel button to close the dialog without selecting the service request. The Completed Past Request tab shows every service request that you have previously handled, not just the ones that were self-assigned. The results are filtered by conditions set in the search screen. Clicking the View Edit icon for a request presents a pop-up form. In addition to the basic service request information, this screen allows you to write comments about the request or member and to enter actual duration, mileage, and expenses. The Committed Requests tab shows all of your committed but not yet completed service requests, not just the ones that were self-assigned. This third tab is especially useful to check possible conflicts. Note that the member's name on this screen is a link that pops up the member's contact information. You can click the View icon to view the details of an upcoming request and have the system resend your confirmation email. Note that if a service request is Date-Time Flexible field is set to Yes when viewing either a committed or completed request, volunteers can modify the date and times of the service request. Also, if it's a committed request, you can also record that a member has been contacted. If the date or time has been modified, a confirmation message will be displayed when the Save button is clicked. If the volunteer confirms the changes, the service request is flagged as the member has been contacted, and the status is automatically changed to confirmed if it isn't already. So far, we've been logged in as a non-member volunteer. Let's log in as a member volunteer. When a member volunteer who is fully vetted logs in and goes to their profile screen, they see an additional option in the website section. There is a link for the Volunteer Self-Signup screen, which takes them to the same Volunteer Self-Signup screen that we have been reviewing. Now let's look at the module when logged in as an administrator or VSS coordinator. There is no administrative interface for this feature, so clicking on the View icon in the control panel displays the same screen with a few additional features. By default, the screen shows all open service requests and the search panel so you can filter the list. Because administrators can view all service requests on all tabs for all providers, the search panel now has an additional option to limit to one service provider. Also, there are two new buttons. Clicking the Email Open Requests button sends an email to all volunteers listing the open requests based on the current search criteria. If no search criteria has been selected, all open service requests will be included in the email. A box is displayed where it asks you to confirm that you want to email a list of filtered open requests to all volunteers. As a matter of village policy, you should decide who's allowed to click this button to ensure that volunteers do not receive too many repetitive messages. Clicking the Message of the Day button opens a content editor window, allowing you to enter a message that will appear on the VSS screen for all volunteers. Use this function to notify volunteers about current developments or issues. When admins click the View Select icon, their version of the service request detail dialog includes the ability to assign that service request to a specific member or non-member volunteer from among the fully vetted volunteers who provide this service. Every time a volunteer signs up or is signed up by an admin for a service request using the VSS screen, an entry is made into the VSS sign-up log. It contains basic information about the request, and the data is available as a CSV data file by going to the control panel and selecting Volunteer Sign-Up Log from the Data Export screen. Also note that the VSS module is already enabled for Google Analytics, so if your village has created a Google Analytics account, you can see when and how often the screen is accessed by volunteers looking for potential assignments. So now you've seen how the optional Volunteer Self-Signup module for villages can be used by administrators, member volunteers, and non-member volunteers. This can help encourage volunteer participation and ease administrative tasks because volunteers can view and sign up for service requests directly and also provide after-service information, all without having to involve village office staff. Please review the companion videos that cover the range of features available for aging-in-place villages. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.